brings you in today?
Well, I don't know, I think there's a lot of things going on, but my mom, she's not being supportive of me right now. I'm really trying hard to do well in school, but she doesn't understand how hard it is. She doesn't get it.
I don't think you're trying as hard as you can.
I really do try as hard as I can, but she's like, if she sees me taking one break, like watching one TV show, then the whole world is falling apart, and she gets so mad and so angry. But I can't study 24 hours a day. I have to be able to balance other things, and she wants me to give up everything for school.
I just feel like you have so much potential, and it's going to be very difficult for you in life if you don't do well now.
I know, but you telling me those things just gives me more anxiety and makes me just want to give up, because I feel like no matter what, I'm never going to go as far as you think I should. Even if I get A's, I should have gotten an A+.
I definitely feel a lot of tension coming from both of you. What we'll go ahead and do is, in order to respect this environment, if we can just take turns to speak, whether it be with you or with us, would be fun. I'm hearing you say, Teresa, that you're a bit overwhelmed with regards to the pressure that your mom is putting on you for school.
Yeah, definitely. Very overwhelmed. It's too much to handle with already being overwhelmed with all the stuff I have to do for school, having to worry about what she thinks.
Okay.
And you said she's not supportive. What do you mean by that exactly?
She just doesn't, it really is never good enough. You know, just like she said, like she feels like I have so much potential, but even if I'm doing well to what my standards are, or even the school standards, it's still not enough for her. I need to be the #1 student in my class. If I'm number 4, it's not okay.
Okay. That is the all or nothing perspective.
Right.
What we're going to go ahead and do in this therapy session is we're going to form a scientific partnership between all of us, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about automatic thoughts. Do you guys want to guess what kind of thought that is, or?
I would think something you just kind of, you don't think about it, it just comes to you.
That's exactly right. And then what we're going to go ahead and do with those, our automatic thoughts tend to shape the way we see our world. And the way we experience things, how can I say this? I'm sorry. I apologize. Our automatic thoughts are, the way we think affects the way that we feel. And sometimes those feelings tend to shape our view of our world. So the way certain situations come within our life doesn't necessarily affect what's going on, but it affects the way that we see the scenarios. Am I confusing?
That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
So one of the things we can try to do right now is begin to identify some of those automatic thoughts that you have. So when you think about school, what are your automatic thoughts about school?
It's pointless, because even if I do my best, it's still not good enough, so I'm working so hard still for nothing. Because I feel like I go for her, but if there's no hope that I'm never going to be good enough for her, then why even continue to try?
It sounds like you're saying you feel like it's pointless because if you can't be the best.
Right, because that's how she makes me feel. Like if I'm not the best, it's pointless.
Mom, what does it feel like for anything in schoolwork for your daughter? What comes to mind?
I feel like it's absolutely necessary. I've lived my life, and I know how important it is to have an education. And I know she has so much potential, and if she tried harder, she could be the best. And I don't want her to have a hard time in her life. I want her to do well. And just being educated and trying your hardest ensures that. So.
Okay. So what I'm hearing you say is that your automatic thought with regards to school is that it's extremely important. Whereas Teresa,
Necessary.
necessary. Thank you for correcting me. Whereas Teresa, you may consider it pointless because you have to constantly work at it.
And never get any recognition for it,
And never
I
get-
feel.
Okay. What we're gonna go ahead and do is test your assumptions. Okay. When we're gonna use a scientific approach and say, can you give us
The evidence for the thought that you have. And so, when we talked about the idea that you got to do the best or
Mhm.
it's pointless, you should
Mhm.
just give up. Rafa described that earlier as being sort of all or nothing thinking.
Mhm.
If you can't be the best, why bother?
Right.
What evidence do you have for that?
I don't, that's the hard thing, I have no evidence for it, cause I feel like part of me knows that as long as I do well in school and I graduate and I get a degree, that's gonna get me somewhere, I feel like it would have to, but when I go home and all the time I hear, I start to think that, well, maybe I won't, maybe if I'm not number one in my class, I'm not gonna get what I want out of life, and I don't really have concrete evidence for that, except that that's what she's told me, so I've taken on that belief.
Are there alternative ways of thinking about school and thinking about that?
Yeah, I feel like I am a good student. My grades show that I'm doing well. I might not be number one in my class, but I'm doing well, and I get the support from my classmates, just not at home.
Tell me a little more about what doing well means to you.
For me, it's trying my hardest. As long as I try and I know I put in the effort, then
Okay,
stop
forgot to-
record.
I forgot to ask,